at you from my kitchen. Today's episode, just a couple Southern gals gabbing about food. Julie Tanous is on the podcast today. If her name sounds familiar, she did a little thing. Co-wrote this cookbook with her pal Tyler Ferguson. We chat a little bit about the success the cookbook has seen in the last few months. Then we dive right into Thanksgiving, y'all. A lot of the recipes that she's making for this Thanksgiving come right out of this cookbook, so you may be able to find some inspiration there for your Thanksgiving Day table. She shares how she's cooking up her turkey this year. Very interesting way to cook up a turkey. And then we touch on a highly controversial topic. How far in advance can you cook and slice your turkey? Very controversial. This episode is all about my favorite things: food, friends, and family. Here's Julie Tanous. Let's get going. Every time I see your name, I want to say Julie Tanous.
Yeah, it's been anglicized, so that's probably the correct way to say it.
Well,
it's Lebanese.
Yes, Julie Tanous, thanks for being back here in a different setting.
Thank you for having me. I love this setting.
It's my kitchen. Yeah, one of my favorite places.
It's less intimidating than the newsroom.
Oh man, yeah. Well, I mean,
that was so great, but
yeah, I don't have the fancy lights either. I know, kind of a bummer, but it's okay. We're gonna make do. And really, it doesn't matter the lights. It really has to do with the content, right? It's the content.
It's so true. And you and I have content.
We do, girl.
We've already discussed Shoney's. We bonded. You know, it's like I'm not just saying this to you, but our cookbook press tour, it was intense, and it was back to back. And my interview with you, when it came through, I was like, oh, a news station, sure, I'll do this, and not thinking it was just very different, my expectations. And
Samson.
I know Samson, come on in.
Yeah, sorry, he's desperate to make these interviews. Hold on one second. Hey, Samson. Hey, Samson. Hush. Yeah, so please continue. I think you were about that. That's Samson right there.
Look at him. Oh, hi, Samson. Oh, you're a good boy. I know.
Yeah, it always has to, I have treats right here. It always has to be about him. But I think you're about to pay me a compliment.
I was about to pay Samson. Damn it. Don't you know when your mom is getting a compliment?
Please continue.
My expectations, I just didn't really have any. And we had the greatest conversation and really bonded. And I ended because Jesse couldn't join. Mm-hmm. And he said, how'd it go? I was like, it was great. I feel like I have a new friend. Mm-hmm. He always laughs at me for that.
That's what I love, though. And we were just chatting about this, why I love doing these, because I really feel like it shouldn't be an interview so much as a conversation, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's important to me.
Look at Samson.
I know. Sorry.
Our dog died last month. It was very. I'm still getting over it, and so now when I see dog, I just am craving dog love so much. Yeah. My kids and I will walk around the neighborhood just to go. Let's go look for dogs, And so just looking at Samson now, I just want to jump through the screen and.
You can. I'll send him your way. Was that your French bulldog?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't think there's anything harder, to be honest. I've heard from some people too. Sometimes it's harder losing a pet than it is a human.
My husband surprised me with Ringo when we lived in New York. And so he was our first child together, before we were engaged. So it was also like our first major responsibility as a couple. But he was also just the best dog. And the really beautiful thing about his death, people were sending flowers and gifts, so his bed turned into this shrine in our house. And my house has never had such amazing energy. The sun was the West Coast sunset was flooding my house, and then there were all these flowers, and I felt, I know it sounds crazy, especially if someone's not a dog person, but his spirit was still there. And it was just so beautiful, and it brought my family and I even closer together. And I
bet.
And the way he went and the timing of it, I could not, it sounds crazy. I couldn't have asked for a more perfect exit for my dog, and just the bond that my husband and I shared after that. And then comforting our kids. It was really beautiful.
We had to put our dog Mia down. I want to say it was like 2018, and it was absolutely crushing. But yeah, the same thing. We got flowers. We got cards saying, they've made a donation in her name at the local animal shelter. The crazy thing, though, I'll tell a quick story. I got my hair done the very next day. It's a hair appointment. You can't cancel those, even if you're in mourning.
Right.
And I was I'm in the salon. I'm just a pile of poop, really. Like, I'm just a total turd. And my gal's drying my hair. This beautiful woman walks behind me. I see her in the mirror. And my hairdresser goes, "Oh, hi, Mia." And I was like, "What? What did you just say?"
Oh.
And I believe in shit like that, though. Like, I really think that was me, a girl, saying, "Mom, I'm good. I'm good. You're fine."
Yeah, that's the same thing happened to me. Ringo, the fattest bird comes up to my backyard, and we have a fountain in the backyard, and so they take baths in there, but we've never had him come to the door. And the day Ringo died, there were these two, like, fluffiest, fattest birds right at the door, and they were almost coming in my house. And, butterflies and birds are a symbol of, like, spirits. And I felt him. And then on October 31st, so it would have been a month since he died, I was going to bed one night, and, same routine. My husband would take him out. It was late, and I would hear my husband, like, turning out the lights, locking up. Ringo would come upstairs first, get in the bed, kind of, they wiggle around, they find their spot. He would kiss me, and I felt that, like, he was there. And it was, it was a month that he had died. And then I didn't really feel him after that. And it was just the craziest, but not scary. I was never scared. Like, there's a dog ghost in my bed, but,
I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Wow. We're diving in deep. Like,
We really are. We're really getting into it at the beginning of this. Okay. Well, I love that. And I know you miss your boy Ringo, but I also know that, like you said, he's with you all the time. So
he is. So Samson is, all that to say, Samson's welcome to stay for the interview.
I don't know about that, but he just popped up.
He's like, huh?
What?
Huh?
What did you say? What? All right, Julie Tanous, recipe developer, cookbook author, chef. I chatted with you a while back. If anybody wants to go listen to that, it's episode 131. You wrote Food Between Friends with your good pal, Tyler Ferguson. You guys did the book tour. The cookbook, I feel like, just exploded, right?
It exploded. People loved it. I think on Instagram, like, Kris Jenner tagged me in the post, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I don't. Wow, and it makes me so happy. I mean, the press was amazing. We did Good Morning America, which was, I don't even remember it, and it was 4 a.m. But the thing that gives me the most pleasure, even now currently, is my friends or people I don't know that just tag me on Instagram that are making our dishes, and they love them. And no one has reached out, knock on wood, no one has reached out that a recipe was a fail. Like, it's all been positive and all been happy, and it's made, like, one of my close friends, her 2 boys are in preschool and kindergarten. She makes the pickled green beans all the time, and her boys eat it. And I'm like, yes, I got a second grader to eat pickled green beans.
That's huge.
That is, I'm like, success, pat on the back.
Yeah. Also, how crappy would it be for someone to tag you and be like, this sucked?
I know. It happens. I mean, people, you go on Amazon and the reviews, and they'll, it, like, I remember working on a one book, and it was sprinkles, and people were commenting in, can you hear my dad opening crackers right now?
I can't. No, you're good.
Good.
Hey, Dad, how's it going?
And people in the comments like, this doesn't taste like sprinkles. I'm like, yeah, because that is made in a commercial kitchen, and this was developed for the home cook, so it's not going to be exactly the same. But people write that, and luckily I haven't I mean, people have texted me like, what's a quick way to do this? Can I make this ahead of time? I get a little troubleshooting, but nothing major. It has all been very
Great.
positive. My mom's making our roast chicken for me tonight.
Oh, yay, Mom. Go. That's awesome.
I know.
That's a beautiful
Finally, someone's
recipe.
cooking for me.
That's a beautiful recipe, actually. That was one that has stuck out to me in the whole cookbook, was the roast chicken, because it's so easy. And I think people are so intimidated by roasting a whole bird. And it's really simple, really simple.
It's very simple. And the really delicious croutons, it's like a one meal situation. And it's actually a great dish for the holidays if you're just cooking for 2 to 4 people. That one is I know people are probably have smaller celebrations this year.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, you could do it with turkey too. I would just double the croutons probably.
Yeah.
But that's a great one if you're just cooking for a small group for Thanksgiving, is that all of the roast chickens.
Yeah. And I love that you are in Alabama right now. You're home.
I am.
Home for Thanksgiving, right?
But ish.
Ish.
My parents can't come out to California, so I came early to see. I haven't seen my aunts and uncles and cousins in 2 years. So I came during the weekday. My kids are in school. It's easier for me to pop down here for a couple of days.
Beautiful. Well, and then you get them all to yourself, right?
Exactly. I don't have to. I'm normally fighting with my kids. I want cocoa time.
Oh, is that what they call grandma?
Popping cocoa.
Stop it. That's so cute.
I know.
I love that.
Isn't that great?
It is great.
I had a Halloween costume idea for them that my dad should be like a soda pop and my mom could be hot cocoa. Or they could be popcorn. I don't know.
Something.
Next
I like
year.
it. I like it. No, that's awesome. And I do appreciate when people, I had a friend yesterday, I posted a recipe on social media and she made it and she tagged me in it. And it made my freaking day. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
It's the best feeling. Because if you can't physically feed people right now, you can virtually feed them. You can give them a recipe. I love when people reach out to me like, what's a great, a friend just texted me today, like, I need a coffee cake recipe. It's my husband's favorite. And just to walk people through that, like send them a text. I'm here as you're making it if you need me. Maybe I'm onto something.
I mean,
troubleshooting with Julie.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Like an online service. But that would mean you'd have to be like glued to
hotline.
a device. A hotline, a Julie hotline. Yes. Yeah, a Julie hotline.
Just for food.
I was looking back at some of the research I did on you for the first time. You had recipes featured really all over the place for a while. I mean, in different magazines. Did you push that? Did that just happen for you? How did it work that your recipes were featured in certain magazines?
Yeah, I would just take on any client and any project. So I was doing I worked with this one company. I don't know if they're still around. It was called Soylent. And, it was I think Silicon Valley guys developed it. And it's this drink. It was like a powder that you mix. And it's for those coders who are working 24/7 and literally don't have time to eat food. So part of me was like, this goes against everything I believe in. I'd worked in a butcher shop. This was like right after the farm to table movement. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm developing this drink. I don't know. I don't even know, like this drink that gives you everything you need in a day, like the calories you need, the nutrients you need. And I took it and I developed some amazing smoothies, and I was pulling in fresh mint, chocolate, fresh herbs. Like there was one with I want to say I did like a citrus and thyme smoothie, because these were meals to certain people. And so then they started pre-packaging them. But I think that got picked up in a couple of magazines. I've developed desserts for people who are developing them for apps, like cooking apps. I've worked on other people's cookbooks, but I think it was just really word of mouth. Like I had enough contacts, and then I would work on a project, then that person would know someone else that would need a recipe developer. And so I just kind of naturally went down that path of consulting and recipe developing.
That reminds me
and I
of,
really loved it because
yeah, go
I
ahead.
was just I could do the work. I have two young children, so I could create my own hours, work in my own kitchen. So it was just very conducive to my life.
I bet. That reminds me of the Friends episode where Monica has to create recipes based on like the fake chocolate.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Mocklet? Was it
Mocklet.
Mocklet?
I was trying to remember what it was called. Mocklet. Yeah.
Oh, so good.
That is good. And do you ever look at, I had a question and it left me and then it came back. Do you ever look at someone's recipe that they've posted and you're like, wait a second, that's mine?
Yes. And even when we were developing the book, I would think, oh, I've got this original idea. And then I would look something up, like a measurement, and there it was on a blog.
Yeah.
And so I had to get over that. Like, everything we created, probably exists somewhere. It wasn't some new idea. We weren't reinventing the wheel or anything, but Jesse and I kept going back to, it's the story behind it. It's the inspiration behind it. Why do we love it? And that's really where the narrative and the creative writing came in with this book. It wasn't just about the recipes, but the story behind it. But yeah, I mean, like Hatch green chilies, I think if you looked up any New Mexican blog, you're probably going to find Hatch green chili mac and cheese.
Right.
Right. But yeah, or I'll see, I might see something that's similar to something we developed and think, oh, I didn't think to do the leeks first. I was doing the leeks after. So, you might change it up.
Yeah. I struggle with that.
Cookbooks.
I struggle with that, honestly, because I'm not a chef, but I am a cook and I've been cooking for a long time and I come from a family of cooks. And I sometimes feel awkward, like especially when I'm cooking on social media or something, and I just want to make sure like there's a disclaimer that says, hey guys, I found this recipe.
Yes.
I've adapted it for what I want. I've changed it up a little bit, but like I didn't come up with this, man. Like this is all over the place. Yeah.
Right. No, it's hard to do when and I think that's something I've struggled with is like in terms of what's next, like what's the content I'm creating. You get to this place where you've worked in the industry for so long, you've written a cookbook. I've been inundated with cookbooks and food magazines. And so I'll have an idea and I'm like, that's already been done.
Yeah.
That exists. That's been done. I don't why does anyone want to see this again? But again, I think it's the personality and it's the story behind it.
And it's the trust too, right? You have people who have maybe made your recipes so many times over the years and they trust your recipes maybe over someone else that they aren't familiar with.
Right. And even if they have a base, like a lot of people, will tell me, I feel like there's two chefs that I get a lot. Like people love Ina Garten and Pioneer Woman, Ree Drummond, and they're like, I've always made Ina's roast chicken, and then I saw yours, and I made this one tweak that you did, and I love it. And so then, that makes me feel good that they learned a base from Ina, and then they added a twist from me.
It's really funny you brought up Ina because I wrote her down because I have a question for you about something that she posted on social. Big tease, everybody. So stay tuned for that. Big tease. No, I really do think that's super cool that you have, people who trust the recipes that you're putting out there. And I will say, because I was reading this back again the other day, just the other day. And what I loved most about this were the stories. And it seems like every recipe that you guys added to this, there was intent behind it. There was purpose.
Very much so. Yeah. We didn't add anything to the book just to add a page or fill space. Everything had a story. We wanted every recipe to have a picture. We couldn't. I think there are like 5 that don't have a photo. That was a hard decision. But yeah, I don't think there was one that we struggled with, like what to say, what to write.
That's awesome. It actually inspired me. I was texting with my family, my South Carolina family, about our family recipes, just looking for some that I wanted to make sure that I have kind of in my arsenal. That created this text storm of we all should add this and this and this.
Yep.
So now we have a Google Doc with about 40 recipes that we're all
That's amazing.
dumping in what we know and making our own variations. And I'm talking about like my grandma's dressing that she would make at Thanksgiving.
That's what this book is. You should just write a book now. You've got it.
Yep. Okay.
It's that easy. It's that easy.
It all started too. We barbecue a hog every Christmas. And so that was a huge tradition in our family. And
Yes.
they told me the story of how my papa would start the barbecue sauce. And then my grandma over the course of the day would add her tweaks to it. And then he would taste it.
Did he know?
No. And then he would
You didn't
taste
know
it
she
at
was
the
in there, like,
yep.
adding stuff?
And so at the end of the day, he would taste it and be like, "This is damn good barbecue sauce."
And no one really knows the recipe. Jesse and I struggled with that. You know, there were a couple of recipes when my mom was out visiting. I said, "Okay, make your cornbread, make your salmon patties. I need to watch you, and I'm going to write it down." I tried to stay true to the original. I added a few things or like a sauce to it, but I tried to stay to the true recipe.
Yeah, I do that too with my grandma's stuff. I stay true to it, and I may add something just because I want to add maybe fresh sage or something like that. But I love that there's turnip greens in here, because we're a big mustards and turnip greens kind of family.
Yep.
Hush puppies. I just wrote down my grandma's recipe. The recipe is called lighter than air hush puppies. Right?
I love that.
Cute.
I love names of old recipes.
Yes. And then the salmon patties. My grandma used to make salmon patties for my papa, and they would eat them over grits, and he loved them.
Oh, I didn't think to put them over grits. You should do like a side by side.
Okay.
Or I'm interested to see how they differ. What's in your grandmother's recipe?
Yeah. Oh, for what? The salmon patties? Or
Yeah.
So
She just does.
You know what? We haven't exactly figured out what went into hers, but I know it was canned salmon, and I know she would probably fry them up and then serve them over grits. My papa loved it. Mine are very, there's shallots in mine, and probably like a little bit of cumin and fresh parsley, and then I like to fry mine up in butter because.
Oh yeah.
Because I can. And then I like mine with poached eggs, honestly, on top.
Oh, that would be nice on a salad.
Frisee.
Like arugula.
A little frisee
that could
underneath.
Be a really frisee. That's a nice brunch dish. The salmon patties were interesting because I felt like they could be an appetizer, they could be a main course, they could be brunch. Like there were so many. That was one of the other challenges of the book, is figuring out, is this a dessert or is this brunch?
Yeah, for sure. But I did appreciate reading through this and all the recipes that are near and dear to you. There's a lot of similarities within my family too, and that may just be like a Southern thing. I'm not sure, but I loved it. I thought it just really warmed my heart, and then it kicked off this family project of now compiling recipes.
That makes me so happy. You could just self-publish something for your family. I've known people that have done that.
Make them buy my cookbook.
Although self-publishing sounds like that would put me over the edge.
Right.
I have a friend who self-published a beautiful cake book. I should introduce you guys. You would love her. She's an artist. She's from Atlanta.
Okay.
And here I am connecting.
I love it.
She went to art school, and her cakes are like works of art, but they're also delicious. And so she lives in LA. She lives in Silver Lake, but she self-published her book on Amazon. And we kind of wrote ours at the same time, and we met for a cup of coffee a couple of times to talk about it. I was like, how are you doing this without a team of people? But it's doable.
Yeah.
You totally could.
Yeah.
Your family could self-publish this, and I want a copy.
Okay, done. Well, good thing is my mama is the epitome of like organization. So I know she will go in there and she will clean up these recipes and she will change things up. And I mean, she's in love with this project right now.
That's so great. I know my mom was my number one recipe tester.
I love it.
I would get a million photos, a million notes. It was great.
Wait, was it? Was it great?
I said, Mom, I can't pay you.
Kidding, Mom. No, that's always good. Even if you get the advice, my mom always calls Trisha, this is what I think you should do. And I kind of roll my eyes at first and then I stop and I'm like, all right, you're right. Okay.
Yeah. So how did your grandfather, the hog roast, I mean, did he build his own fire pit?
He did eventually. He built, I'm pretty sure the story goes, he built his own. But in the beginning, they would dig a really shallow pit. And that's where like the embers would be. So they would build this fire in the ground. And then there would be like right on top of the ground, essentially the grate with the hog on top. And it's slow roasted pig, right? And then there was one Christmas I remember I went out because I wanted to help. And
oh no.
Right. No, it worked out good. I was just like, ew, this is gross. But
it's a whole pig.
It's a big old animal. A whole big hog. And I'm just like, it's a pig, right? No, baby, it's a hog. But they would take out after roasting it, you take out kind of all the junk, right? The bones and the pieces that aren't any good. And then they would put it back in the hog. If my Uncle Randy's listening to this, he's probably like, no, that's not how we do it. They sauce it. They sauce it with our barbecue sauce, which in South Carolina is very vinegar-based, spicy barbecue sauce. And then the whole thing would come in, right? So this whole big hog would come into my grandma's kitchen. And she's making rice and coleslaw, and we would have white bread on the table. That's it.
Oh, like sandwich bread.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't.
There's a barbecue place in Alabama that's famous, Dreamland Barbecue, and they don't even have a menu. You get ribs and white bread. There's a loaf of white bread at your table. It's sticks to the roof of your mouth.
Perfect.
It's great.
Perfect.
You have to pause while eating and scream.
That will be the shot that I capture for the feature photo of this interview. You and I doing this.
Just getting white bread out of your gums.
I would
so
take
appetizing.
As I got older, because I wasn't a huge fan of the barbecue when I was little, but as I got older, I really started to appreciate it. And I would take the white bread with pork and coleslaw on top of that, and it was a redneck taco.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Love it.
With some sweet tea.
Are there dishes that you hated as a kid that you love now and that you like? For me, it's one of my favorite dishes in the book is just pinto beans and cornbread. And I remember as a kid when my mom's like, we're having beans and cornbread for dinner, I thought, oh, isn't there a side of steak or or chicken or something? And now, like every Sunday night or Monday, I make beans to get me through the week.
Oh, I love that.
And it's some nights I just have beans and rice or beans and cornbread. But is there any dish that your mom would?
Well, grandma actually. So grandma would make. She would make. It was either butter beans or lima beans and rice or shell beans. I don't know if you ever remember shell beans. Ooh,
like purple hulls?
I think so. I'm not sure, but I loved shell beans. But the butter beans and the lima beans, my southern accent's coming out real big, with rice.
Yeah, mine's real.
I love it. So the beans and rice I never was a big fan of, especially like the butter beans. And then she would make chicken and rice, which I did not like. And my Uncle Randy makes the chicken and rice now, and I can't get enough of it when he makes it. I just eat plate after plate after plate.
And turnip greens too. I wasn't a huge fan.
No.
Growing up.
And now that's comfort food for me. Like collards and mustard and turnip green. Yeah.
Yes. With the little hot sauce on top.
Oh yeah. Or pickled green beans and like the vinegar from so good.
Oh my God.
But so good. I think she would make like chicken and rice or beans and rice and just have turnip greens. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I can't
This
eat
is
this.
dinner?
Yeah, this is dinner.
I know.
And then there was a plate of fresh sliced tomatoes and cucumbers from her
Oh,
garden.
yep.
And I'm like,
Like, what is this? This is rabbit food.
can I have a cheeseburger? This is dumb. And now
Because kids just want salty fat. I just wanted chicken skin.
Mm-hmm.
I could have eaten chicken skin every night. Just Dale's steak sauce. My mom would just marinate chicken in Dale's steak sauce and bake it. And it was the greatest thing. It was just sodium chicken.
I read that and that's what you would steal. You were the chicken skin thief and just
Yes.
steal that. But I do think I love that the idea that these were foods that we weren't crazy about. And now I almost feel like making them and celebrating them is celebrating her on some level.
Definitely. And the fact that it gives you comfort now. And I can't get enough. Like once a week I have beans.
Yeah.
And my kids do eat most of the stuff I did not like as a kid.
I think that's pretty
They
incredible.
love turnip greens.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, they have to crumble a bunch of bread in it, but
it's okay.
or it doesn't look like turnip greens anymore. It's like a turnip green biscuit cobbler situation.
Yum.
I made the chicken and dumplings the other night for us. It's getting cooler in LA. And people are in their puffy coats. I'm like, calm down.
It's 65.
It's 65. Anyway, it was 65 degrees, and I said, it's time for chicken and dumplings.
The best.
And so my son Henry, I'm talking about, because it's my drop biscuit recipe, and then I just put him in the dumplings. He starts crying, which he's 4.5. He's at the age, like if the butter's not spread on correctly, he has a tantrum, or if the bread's not sliced diagonally or whatever. So he's like, I want a regular biscuit, like sobbing over these biscuit. And I'm breaking it open. I'm like, look, Henry, it's a biscuit. It's just cooked differently, And then as I was describing it to him, I said, it's steamed instead of baked. I was like, that sounds disgusting. Why would you want to eat this? But it's delicious. Just try it, buddy.
It'll all be fine. I promise. Let's talk about Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I love Thanksgiving because obviously food, you're in the kitchen, and I kind of, I love the stress of it, to be honest. I really do.
I know. It's exhausting. My mother-in-law and father-in-law are flying out to visit, and I think my husband usually our house is always, every Thanksgiving is different. Like if someone can't be with family, they end up at our house. So every year my husband will invite people, but he'll tell me the day of.
Hubby.
So I went ahead and ordered my turkey, and I just accounted for like 10 people. I think it's going to be 8 of us, but just for that surprise guest that comes over.
Good call.
But my mother-in-law helps me in the kitchen. She's like my dishwasher, but I love the stress of it. I love having a sous chef. It's so fun. And in writing this and writing food between friends, like some of my fondest food memories, when I would think back, like, when did I eat that? How was I feeling? Where it was usually Thanksgiving food. So I feel like there are a lot of recipes in the cookbook that you could make for Thanksgiving. Yes.
The serve with section of your cookbook offers a ton of inspiration for Thanksgiving.
It's and the roast chicken recipes you could use with turkey. You just are going to change your cooking time and maybe double the parsnips or the croutons or whichever. But
right.
The serves, and I'll tell you what I'm doing.
Okay.
The asparagus and leek galette, I'm going to serve as an appetizer.
Okay.
Slice it up like a pie. And then I'm going to spatchcock my turkey, but the butcher shop is going to do it for me, because I just don't think I've been working out enough to get in there and spatchcock a turkey.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
And I'm going to roast that with the parsnips, sort of like the sorghum butter chicken. I'm going to do our creamed collards, our mac and cheese, either cornbread or biscuits. I haven't decided on dessert yet.
Okay.
What are you doing?
My mom is coming out from South Carolina,
Oh,
So,
nice.
and she's going to bake a pecan pie, of course. And then
I like that you say pecan.
pecan. And then I'm going to attempt an apple galette. I do one every year for Thanksgiving, and every year it gets a little bit better and not as a cluster as it usually is.
What kind of apples are you using?
I was gonna use Fuji. Tell me, should I use something different?
I would do Granny Smith or
Okay,
Golden Delicious are also great apples for baking.
golden
You could do a
delicious.
mixture too. That could be pretty.
Ooh, yum. Okay, and then
You could do
there's
like some Fuji and
okay.
Granny Smith. So you get like a sweeter, a tart.
Good to know.
Hmm.
There's a place here in Southern Oregon that sells gelato from I think it's from San Francisco. They get it, and they make a creme brulee gelato, and that's what I
Oh,
serve with the galette and the pecan pie.
sign me up. Can I
Right?
come to your house
I mean, and the
for
funny thing
Thanksgiving?
is, can I just tell you where I get this gelato? It comes from the Cookie Connection in the Rogue Valley Mall.
Oh, I love it.
But it's the
It's like
best
an indoor
gelato I've
mall.
ever had. It's so, so good. It's just
What's
creamy.
what's the brand? Do you know?
I don't, but I can email it to you. I mean,
Okay, send it to me.
I'm sure you got connections. You can get this gelato in your
Yeah.
house. But yeah, no,
Give
it's
me my gelato dealer.
I
I need
like
a
that.
gelato dealer.
I like that actually.
I
I
know a guy.
I can make that happen. Hey, Jules, I know a guy who can get you some gelato. I wrote down for just ideas, the cauliflower, the green beans, the roasted and smashed sweet potatoes, the Brussels sprouts. I always do
Hmm.
Brussels sprouts for Thanksgiving. So
Hmm.
the mac and cheese would be what a breath of fresh air on the Thanksgiving Day table. So there's so much people can make out of this cookbook.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I the sweet potatoes I was thinking about doing, although I do love sweet potato casserole. Do you ever have that?
Yeah, my grandma
Mm.
used to make that every year for Thanksgiving. So
That's another one that gets served with the side dishes, but it's a dessert,
I struggled with
I
that as a
think.
kid. I was always like, this is sweet
Yeah,
though. It's really sweet.
I would just get two health things.
One with the turkey, then one after the turkey, for sure. I wanted to give you a shout out for the pimento cheese roll ups
Yes. Did you
because
make them?
I love pimento cheese, but I just love that your recipe has mayo and cream cheese. There's no other way to do it. I'm sorry.
Yep. Double up that cream, double dairy,
Mayo,
the
people.
only way.
And for people who don't like mayonnaise, you have to keep in mind a lot of things like that, even, certain sauces or certain things have mayonnaise in them. That's like the base.
Yes, it's just sometimes it's the perfect texture. Sometimes cream cheese is too much. Um, it's just the perfect texture. And I think people that hate it, if you made your own, maybe you would hate it less. And you realized that it was just an emulsion, if you
Right.
saw how it was being made.
Yeah. No, I make my own for sure. It's the best.
Homemade's better than the jar.
Agreed. Absolutely. Okay. I wanted to bring up this. I saw this on social media. Ina Garten did a turkey, make ahead turkey. She said it's not as bad as you think.
Hmm.
Put some gravy, put it underneath gravy, and kind of slice your turkey and then keep it warm in the oven, and it's juicy and delicious. Do you believe in that? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
You could absolutely do that. I mean, with turkey too, is just getting it out ahead of time. You could always like cook it ahead of time and then, yeah, slice it, because you just want to get it juicy again. So it's almost like steaming it, and then you could get the skin crispy again before serving it.
Okay. Okay. So you're
Yeah,
behind a do ahead turkey. Have it sliced, ready to
I
go.
am. Yes, I'm behind to do ahead anything.
Right?
You can make gravy ahead, your cranberry sauce. Um, for my stuffing, you want to lay your bread out, get it really dry. I just think if you can make things ahead and then the last step is just popping in the oven, mac and cheese you can make ahead. It just takes the stress off the day, unless you love the stress like you and I do.
Right. And I do love the stress, but I'm not crazy. Like I want a little bit of stress, but I
Hmm.
also want to be able to drink some bubbles while I'm in the kitchen.
Yeah, and also when I sit down, this is, my husband's a fast eater, and so I'm trying to get my kids are pretty slow eaters, but we'll sit down. I'm at Thanksgiving in particular. I'm like, no one is getting up from this table.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna sit here for at least 20 minutes and take our time eating. And I just want us to sit down and enjoy it.
100%. I believe in that too. And then after everybody's done, just hang out, everybody. Just hang out.
Yeah, just chill.
Right.
I'm probably gonna be annoying camp counselor Julie and make a couple of games. Like, what are you grateful for?
Of course.
Maybe we'll get to know. We'll do a get to know you game, even though it's family. It depends on what friends are coming over.
For sure. I can't. The what am I grateful for game at Thanksgiving, I cry every single time. I'm like, I'm grateful for my dogs and my family. Yeah. Someone else go, please.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've tried to do, my kids, we used to do a gratitude prayer at dinner every night. And you just say one thing that happened that day that you're grateful for. And we've kind of fallen off. And I feel like every year Thanksgiving gets me back on track to talk about what we're grateful for.
Nice.
And my daughter usually says, LOL dolls.
At least she has her priorities in place.
If we're all in a bad mood or we're trying to rush, my husband will be like, I'm grateful to be eating with my family. I'm like, come on, I need you to dig deeper.
Dig deep.
Cry.
Oh, that's awesome. You've been so much fun again.
This was great. I'm so excited for your podcast.
Thank you.
And let's cook together sometime.
I would love to. I am going to get you the name of my gelato guy.
Great. Do that.
Yes. And
I'm going to have to order some.
I'm really excited to cook some stuff from the cookbook. I haven't had a chance to do so, but this cookbook is right up my alley because there's just so many things about it that I love. The southern ties, and then, Jesse and his love of hatch green chilies, and just right up my alley. I love it. It's so unique.
Send me pictures of what you make if you make anything for Thanksgiving.
I will. And
I'm here for troubleshooting. Call the hotline.
We'll be posting the Julie hotline number at the end of this podcast.
I'm going to get a burner, a burner phone so people can call me.
And I will keep you up to date on the family cookbook that's scheduled to come out next year.
Please do. I will recipe test for you.
Oh, that's the funny part too. We're putting all these recipes in, and I'm reading through some of them, and I'm like, how do you know? Did you make this and write it all down? How do you know? Come on, guys.
So great.
Yeah. But I will be, I'm going to be talking with my Uncle Randy in December because I want to hear the whole barbecue hog tradition. So I will be putting that up on social media, hopefully, because it's a huge tradition in our family. And it's just something that I want to make sure I get out there. So it doesn't die, right? It stays alive.
I think you should do it while he's roasting the hog,
right,
so we can see.
Let's see.
We need a visual.
Let's see.
Maybe not everyone doesn't want a visual.
It's okay. There will be people out there who will appreciate the visual. So we almost made it. So close. All right. I'm going to say, I'm going to say goodbye, but I want everybody to go grab this cookbook because it's a beautiful story. I love the friendship that you guys share. Ooh, wait. And the recipes are amazing and they're super fun. They're super easy. There's nothing in here that's really time consuming or a project. So a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot.
Thank you. And happy Thanksgiving to you and your family.
Happy Thanksgiving to Pop and Coco too. Give them my love.
Thank you. Bye y'all.
Bye y'all. You've been listening to Hungry for More, an Epicurean's Dilemma with me, Trish Close. You can watch this podcast and subscribe on my YouTube channel. Just search Hungry for More, an Epicurean's Dilemma. You can also listen and subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts.